Hey there, Storm fans. Bryant Cook. You're about to watch the finals of the Star City Games Syracuse Legacy 5K. I was fortunate enough to be recorded in this match. It was the only match that I was recorded for Legacy, unfortunately. But if you're looking for more Sweet Storm action, there is a members exclusive video going live today as well, which was my practice league leading up to today's event. So become a member of this channel to gain access to that. It's a pretty good league, so I'd recommend it. But I'd like to take a moment right now to thank Anuraag for the streams over the weekend at Star City Games Syracuse. Anuraag does a terrific job, and if you've ever watched those streams or, well, this video, this is the high quality content production that Anuraag provides. So go to OnZDMTG at Twitch, subscribe, support him, whatever you got to do, support Anuraag. That's my message here. And without further ado, let's enjoy some wonderful commentary from Jonathan Sukenik and Tannon. I hope you enjoy the finals. Thanks for watching.
All right, and we're back. So, this is kind of the Syracuse after party where we're going to get the finals of the Legacy. So, being that it's Legacy, we decided to, Reed had prior engagements and stuff, so we're bringing Tannon to the booth. So we got some, Delver experts here, and we're actually covering a match between Tess and Delver. So Tannon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Now, when you say we have some Delver experts here, are you counting yourself twice? Is that what's going on? Or
No, I'm counting you once and me however many
sure,
times we want to.
1.5 experts. We'll go that far.
Sure.
It's it's been a little while for myself of actually picking the deck up in paper, but
Oh,
I'm super
nice.
excited about this because not only is it a premier matchup in the finals where we have the Epic Storm versus Delver, it's a premier matchup of players as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah,
Did you want to tell the players, I mean, the people at home, a little bit about the two guys we've got in the finals? Because they're pretty known for doing what we've got in these finals.
yeah. So one of them is Bryant Cook. So self-proclaimed my biggest fan.
Okay,
He,
okay, okay.
he literally just anytime gets the chance. So I'm sure he'll be happy to watch the VODs. But if you haven't seen the Epic Storm website, and Brian's pretty much the creator of the deck,
Mhm.
and is always putting out content and has really cool tokens and even like hoodies and all this RAM stuff. And their deck is beautiful. And then on the other side we have Alex Rubin, who has from the Maryland area. I've known him since, geez, he was very young.
Yeah, I've known
And
of him for a long time. Yeah.
yeah, and he's been known to handle these classics pretty well as well. So both would be fitting as I guess they're not called classics technically, but
That's what we know them as, sure. Yeah. And we keep
the
calling
legacy
these
champions.
opens. We keep calling these opens. They're not technically opens, but
Yeah, so let's get down to the match.
absolutely. And I'm a big fan of this as well. I actually talk to Bryant probably weekly. Now we're in the same fantasy baseball league, and our favorite teams are direct rivals of each other. So we give each other a lot of smack talk, and our
Oh
decks that
yeah.
we play in the premier format that is Legacy are direct rivals of each other. So we get a lot of smack talk there. But when it comes to actual bona fides of that, I always like to make mention the fact that I'm up lifetime on him. So yeah, I get the tiebreaker there. And
Wow,
also,
geez.
my team's been better than his in baseball lately too. So I get to twist the knife a little bit as well. But I'm
Oh.
super excited to watch this matchup. Um, I don't know who's on the play yet, but it does look like it's going to be Alex Rubin. It seems like he was the third
Mhm.
seed going into the finals, and that could be quite important in this matchup, right? If Delver's going first, especially in game one.
Right. I think I'm 1-1 lifetime against Brian, so not as
Well, look,
great
hey,
there. But
the booth has got a winning record versus him. Okay, that's what really matters.
yeah, so the Delver player able to kind of deploy the threats and then able to kind of have maybe that small step ahead in terms of being able to daze and spell pierce. Use cantrips a little bit more proactively to sculpt the hand. What am I missing? Do I need to deploy the extra threat that way, cut off a turn that way, or do I need to find another, say, force of will?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also the slight difference here. I mean, let's be real. If Alex Rubin is in round two and sees that he's playing against Bryant Cook, he knows the matchup, right? Bryant Cook has been playing this deck all day, every day for the last 10 years. But in the dark, the Delver player wouldn't know that this is the matchup that they have. So they might not keep certain hands, but it does look like Rubin's hand is actually great from the couple of cards that I've seen so far. I see a Delver and a Red Elemental Blast here. These are two very good cards to have early.
Right. Yeah. So It's pretty interesting against the various storm variants. Like the Pyroblast kind of loses equity as the game goes later because it doesn't interact as well with
The
uh,
combo turn, yeah.
right, exactly. But in terms of the sculpting turns, these ponder, preordain, brainstorm, what have you, sort of effects, you can kind of trade pound for pound there. And a lot of the times, the Epic Storm is trying to at least beat one force of will, if not being a little bit more careful. And the easiest way to do that is by sculpting your hand appropriately.
Yeah, and so like that actually leads me to something that I found over the years. It does look like we don't have a blind flip of the Delver here on turn 2. Big win for Bryant here. It should buy him an extra turn in this game of doing that sculpting that you said.
Mhm.
But this leads me to something I talk about a lot in this matchup where, especially in game 1, it's a little weird in how you have to play. I found that when I was playing this game a lot and playing in this matchup a lot, I was losing a ton when I
Mhm.
first started and couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. And I found that a lot of the times I was just like waiting too long to interact with my opponent, and that
Mhm.
sometimes I should just be interacting on the stack as early as like turn 2,
Right.
going after those preordains and those ponders so they can't sculpt the perfect hands. Because if you always wait to interact on a turn where they're going off, like where they're doing their big combo turns, generally like one force of will and even like a force of will plus a daze might not be enough to get you there. But
Mhm.
if you can keep them from sculpting the perfect hand, you might be able to win some games. You see
Right.
Alex not even deploying another Delver here. He's got a interaction spell in his hand, plus he knows the top of his deck. So a few small things here.
Yeah, so just to kind of highlight a little bit of what you're saying there for the people that might want to be a little bit more math based in what they're trying to accomplish. If you look at the range of hands, even open deck list that you will keep, both as the Epic Storm and Izzet Delver, you actually keep a lot of hands because of the cantrips, because of the ability to sculpt. It's not worth going down a card to just hope that your 6 card hand is better. And then with cards like Wasteland and Days, like things just like every single resource matters so much. So since Bryant has to keep almost every 7 card hand that's semi reasonable, you being able to say shut off a key brainstorm just ruins the whole game for them, and then they might not even be allowed to go off instead of just fighting on the turn that they're looking to go off.
And now we see another reason why he didn't want to deploy that second Delver last turn. Knowing the top card of his deck was a Force of Will, not only is it a good reveal to a Delver of Secrets, very good card to have an extra copy of in your hand for Alex. And it looks we're going to start off possibly a big turn. We got a first real test from Bryant last turn in Burning Wish, and now another one with is it Pyrite Flame? What's the name of this one? His are never in English.
Right of flame, it's
Rite of
fine.
Flame, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Pyrite
So
Ritual and Rite of Flame. Yeah, sorry, they're
yeah, no,
both the
no,
same
you're
card.
good. So one thing that can also be interesting is whether or not Alex has a lightning bolt in hand, because if you have a lightning bolt in hand combined with the assuming that the other Delver flips, then this clock isn't so different than the previous one.
Right, that's a good
Uh,
point.
yeah, so we're seeing the pyroblast being able to interact with the brainstorm, and brainstorm's really important to hit there
Mhm.
because sometimes Bryant might just try going for it and baiting out various spells, and that changes the hand the most.
It looks like we got Chromox as the fourth card this turn, and it does look like we have what is this? Is that
Galvanic
can't see the
relay,
card? Galvanic Relay. Okay,
right?
so
So
Galvanic Relay
so
for 5 copies, I believe.
yeah, so relay's a really interesting card. It's kind of like a light mind's desire for next turn, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, it's like the new
Um,
way that Red makes card advantage, right? Like it exiles cards at the top of your deck, and you can play them like usually until next turn. So you kind of get to like put them on layaway.
Yeah, and it's really good for turns like this where Alex actually has some interaction, and you're like, well, I used up all my lands this turn. It would be really nice if I could just use up my lands again next turn.
Absolutely. One of the new additions to the Epic Storm over the last 2 years, a deck that every now and then gets a slight upgrade.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't generally get too many new cards. You might get like a little, a card that's a little bit better than its predecessor kind of thing. But most of these cards, I think you could take a look at them, just look at the deck. These have all been printed, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and they're getting into the deck. So nice to see a newer card make it into the deck.
Hi, thanks for the raid. So, just one legacy expert to another. Uh, so yeah, Alex is kind of just planning out the turn. So it is kind of annoying that the Delver didn't flip. So you know that Brian doesn't even necessarily have to win this turn either. It looks like Alex wants just what the text is on Wishclaw Talisman, just to better understand the card.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that we joked about this yesterday. We were watching Bryant Cook play in Modern, and he was playing the Neoform deck. And
Hmm.
Bryant's known for playing, like you said, some of the most beautiful decks you'll ever see. But one of the big things is his cards are generally in non-English, and decks like the Epic Storm or Neoform, you're seeing a lot of cards that aren't getting played in other decks. So while Alex probably knows what Wishclaw Talisman does, he just wants to be sure. And so again, he can't read the card, so getting the Oracle text is always a good thing. So it looks like we're going to start off here with a Lion's Eye Diamond from Bryant, and that's going to get another Storm counter. Got a couple free spells lined up here, and a couple of really, really powerful ones as well.
Yeah, what's hard is that just the way Storm ends up working is that your tutor card usually finds a card with Storms. So therefore, a lot of people don't have, say, Flusterstorm in the main deck or some way to nicely combat a Storm spell. Like people don't play Stifle anymore. So you kind of just look at the cards that yield the Storm card payoff, and you see that there's both Wishclaw Talisman and Burning Wish, and both of those can find Storm cards. And then Alex is going to be a little bit hard pressed to just find enough things. And Lion's Eye Diamond can actually make mana a little bit sooner than normal, in that there's all these cards that are exiled. Then you can make the mana, then you can cast them. Whereas if they were in your hand, it would actually potentially be a liability.
Right, because you have to discard them. And let's try to keep up here. There's so much going on. We got a Dark Ritual on the stack, adding a bunch of black mana. Love the counters, the physical counters from Bryant here. So that's 3 black mana floating. We're on the third spell of the turn. The Chromox got imprinted by a Burning Wish from hand, but there's a backup Burning Wish that's been exiled. Here comes the Wishclaw Talisman. That's going to go up to fourth spell. I'm getting really tested here. Jonathan, keeping up with his turn. These are the difficult ones. It looks like here's the Force of Will that we knew was sitting around Alex's hand. That's going to hit the Wishclaw Talisman. It's going to keep Bryant from finding possibly the last piece that he needs to do all this, but it is going to add to Storm.
Yeah,
And it
so
looks
oh
oh, the
wow.
last card was a Veil of Summer. That is huge, and that's probably going to spell this game in the favor of Bryant Cook here. He's going to draw a card off that.
Yeah, so let's see. Storm count is currently, I think Storm count might actually be 6 between the Veil and the Force of Will, but no matter. It definitely seems like you're able to just churn through enough stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's at 6 right now, then that should probably be good enough for a game with the Burning Wish plus the Talisman. If you can find something that should be able to put him up to enough spells. And also, you got another spell in his hand here. It's going to add 3 mana, add another card to the Storm count. Looks like Chromox is the last card, so then he's going to be able to Burning Wish here after adding mana from the LED. No hand to pitch here. Look, Mom, no hand. And this should be able to find a Tendrils, I believe, in the sideboard.
Yeah, just counting up the Storm just to
Just to
make
make sure
sure.
you're dead as dead can be, or
You
Wish Call Talisman from the deck as well does it. It seems.
I do like the physical Storm
Yeah,
because
this is
I feel like when
amazing.
people move dice, I have to keep on remembering how many dice they had before. But if I just see they added one physical Storm, it helps a lot.
Yeah, my least favorite is the ones that they do the physical and they write stuff down. So they have like some physical stuff, they have like the pad and pen over to the side, and they have their board, and they've done it 100 more times than you or I have done it, right? So they're going super super fast, and like I want to be like, hey, do you mind slowing down a little bit? But then like I feel bad because I'm like messing them up, kind of thing. But I'm just trying to keep track myself as well and take. There's so much going on, but a very impressive game one from Bryant here to go up 1-0 in the finals. It looks like we're going to jump straight into game two here.
Wow. Yeah. So we don't get to talk as much about the sideboarding decisions, but what would you be looking to bring in as Alex?
Anything that interacts on the stack, most likely, and then possibly some way to maybe clean up goblins if that's a backup plan for Bryant. A lot of times he has something like that. But something like Flusterstorm, generally out of the sideboard, is good because you can usually cut back on cards like Lightning Bolt from your deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And we kind of see what I was describing earlier in that Alex is just kind of priced into keeping a lot of 7-card hands. No turn one Delver like last game, but instead setting up a Ponder. But Brian's already off to the races here.
Yeah, this is a big yikes if you're in Alex's seat. I know there's no camera on us at home, but I'm sitting up straight in my chair with my hands on my head because I've been in this situation multiple times as the Delver player, and I'm looking at Alex's hand. Is there possibly a mulligan that happened here? I think there might be. I think
Yeah.
it's only 5 cards left in his hand, but it does seem like he has a Force of Will in his hand. So like, you're not as super stressed to have Delver on one, but finding any cheap threat in the first 2 turns is super important as Delver because you just need to hold up your mana so much for the rest of the game. Because if you keep a hand that's all reactive, it's very hard to win. But on mulligans, you don't really have a choice. If you have a hand like this that's got Force of Will and Ponder and blue cards, you probably need to be keeping this at all time.
Hmm. So one thing that's
And
really difficult is I think Brian does this even with two duds in their hand, and they do it with just the one payoff in their hand. And maybe it's just a galvanic relay, but the fact that the Chrome Ux didn't imprint anything feels off. Do you know what I mean?
it does like make your eyebrows go up, right? You're like, it does like signal something. And I think that's a really good point that you're making. And what makes it looks like we were having a little difficulty with the stream. I think Anuraag's doing everything he can. There we go. It does bring up the point that I like to make here. Obviously, you talked about this. Alex Rubin is a great Delver player. I want to talk for a minute about how good Bryant is
Hmm.
as a Storm player, and the fact that you have to question this, right? Like, is this some kind of elaborate bait? Is this something that he's doing just to like get ahead as far as possible? It scares you, right? Like,
Hmm.
and he's going to get the highest win percentage possible out of all of his plays every game. Like, he's going to find those little niche plays, those little corner plays where he pushes for tons of value. Something like, yeah, he might not even go off exactly this turn, but the chances of it are probably pretty high.
Yeah. I mean, I would have so much respect for Brian here if it's just pass. Or it's like I already did all my stuff.
Yep.
The brainstorm was supposed to find me something, pass. But instead,
Well,
it looks like it's gonna be a galvanic relay. So we're gonna be doing this all again next turn.
I think this is for 6, I believe.
Yep.
And okay, so we see a sideboard card. It looks like it's going to be 7 actually.
Oh
So we do
wow.
see it was 6 storm counters. There we go. So it is for the 7th.
1, 2,
We
3.
see a sideboard card. Possible. It's probably main deck in
Mhm.
some versions of this deck, but we see a carpet of flowers in there as well.
Mhm.
And I think is that an eons as well
Yep.
to kind of reset his hand. This
Yeah.
is a really good galvanic relay.
Yeah. So the echo of eons is able to just potentially allow them both to draw 7, but you might not even need to do that. But you would start with cards like carpet flowers in play, but. Let's see. So you can lead off with the Verdant Catacombs. The problem is you don't have Metalcraft yet, and you don't have another Petal or a Lion's Eye Diamond. So
Mhm.
your mana's
Really,
a
really good point.
little bit taxed here. So we know that Alex actually has or they exiled a Daze. I wonder if that implies that they have another Daze in their
They
hand
have a
because they
force of
also
negation. I've
Oh,
seen a force of negation getting shuffled around in Alex's hand.
interesting.
There it
So
is. You can kind of see it now. The
yeah,
top
yeah, I
card.
follow. So the problem is you might want to be like, okay, I'll play Carpet Flowers, go to second main. But if that carpet gets dazed, then you actually just lose this whole relay turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's the scary thing, right? And so Bryant does actually have a mana source here, besides the artifact mana. He's down to 0 lands after the Wasteland.
Hmm.
Wasteland actually pretty impactful sometimes in this matchup because Bryant has so many colored spells in his deck that he has to play a bunch of duels. The some of the other Storm variants can sometimes sidestep you a little bit with basics. This version, not as much.
Yeah,
Oh, it
I
does
know.
look like that's just going to be it for this turn.
Oh
Wow,
wow.
huge dodge by Alex here.
Yeah.
But
So
I think
sorry.
is that there was a force negation on something here, and Alex is down to his last card.
Right.
So he's going to draw something here.
It was
Go.
on the carpet, and
Mhm.
yeah, I know from talking to a bunch of Storm players, both Tess and Ant, they say Wasteland is one of the best cards against them because it's just so innocuous how much that one mana matters over time on the combo turn.
And yeah, so now we're going to see. This is what I was talking about, where not having the cheap threat is really come in. And well, I spoke too soon. Here it comes. But imagine if there was a Delver this entire game. Like I think Alex would be firmly in the driver's seat. But the the draw go play is actually super favorable to Bryant because if nothing's going on and his life total isn't getting threatened, yeah, Alex can like find more reaction and find some spells. But like at some point, Bryant's gonna have like a 7 card hand again and be able to sculpt again one of those huge turns and really go off. So really huge for Alex to find a threat here. Also, speaking of huge, having a getting to put a spell like let's say this force of negation or something on top of his library this turn is going to be pretty nice because he's going to be able to like kind of loop these force negations not only to stop what Brian's doing, but also guarantee that flip on that Delver of Secrets.
Right. This is a play that was kind of televised because Alex chose to play the basic island and then play Delver with 3 mana up. Typically, Delver players that wouldn't need the 3 mana entirely wouldn't do that because of a card like Brainstorm, where you would want to put back
Well, maybe
cards like
we're
lands.
sorry for interrupting. I was going to say maybe we're going here. It looks like we've got Metalcraft turned on. This
Hmm.
looks like a dark ritual has been played here to add 3 black mana. I think the storm count is up to 4. We're going to use that spell that Alex played this turn. Looks
I
like we're
just
going to have
love
another setup turn here.
I just love these relays because it's like, okay, like, is this it? Is this going to be everything? It's like, no, that's next turn. But then that turn could lead to another relay turn. It's kind of awesome.
Just hold on to your butts. Let's see what's gonna happen next turn. And this looks like is this almost a whiff?
Yeah.
No, never mind. I thought it was 4 lands. I think that's a Wish Claw Talisman
Yep.
as the second card.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 3 lands, Wish Claw, Talisman, Burning Wish. So also not fantastic though, but able to kind of play both cards here more than likely, and Alex can only counter one of them.
Right. We know the Force of Negation is the last card in Alex's hand, but he does have a threat in play now, so at least the game should be over in the next few turns for someone, not just for Bryant here. So it does look like he's going to start off with, I think, the Burning Wish here. It looks like he's reaching for red mana. So I'm getting a little stutter on my side, so it is the Wish Claw Talisman. I'm trying to keep up.
Oh, it's fine. Coverage has kind of been that way, but the stream is actually crystal clear, and then it ends up being the Discord that's a little off. So I try to just roll with it a little, but it's kind of hard. It's like, do I want to give you access to any card in your deck or any card in your sideboard? But the thing about the Wish Claw Talisman is you can kind of only use it once. Otherwise, Alex would then use the tutor ability potentially on the way back. Oh wow, Veil of Summer.
I was going to say this is another Force of Negation here that we've known about, but this is a Veil of Summer from Bryant. Just a real kick in the teeth in these games. So this is what, 3 cards? Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, 3 spells, sorry, for Storm. I mean, always got to keep count of.
Oh wow, the
fourth one,
carpet just
Flowers.
produces so much mana.
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna either we're moving to main phase 2 or we're done with this turn. We'll say I'm getting a little stutter there. There we go. I should probably just turn the stream on. There we go. Yeah, I'm just gonna turn the stream on. The stream's super clear.
But yeah, so being able to move into the second main phase with no mana floating, then able to trigger the Carpet Flowers, able to make 4 mana, use the Burning Wish if they want. They can use Wish Claw Talisman. I feel like it's hard to not, like, maybe you're just a little bit off and you can wait a turn because you know you're pretty much just not dead, but the Burning Wish isn't going to last the turn cycle, so you at least want to play that one.
Yep, it looks like it's going to be the 5th spell here this turn, so Burning Wish for something.
Let's get another Galvanic Relay. Let's just keep doing this. Yeah. You don't even have to win.
Yeah, it looks like that's what's actually going to happen here. Another Galvanic Relay. I believe this is going to be for 7 again?
I think, yeah, it's either 6 or 7. But yeah, I love these Galvanic Relays. This has been a blast.
Yeah, so let's move these away because they're not going to happen next turn. But these Galvanic Relays, Brian's going through his entire deck here.
We've seen Abrupt Decay.
Right, another little sideboard card coming in there. God, it's hard to tell. Some of these cards on Brian's deck is so bright.
Yeah, the one under the Vern Catacombs is the only one I'm not that sure about. But yeah, so
I believe that's a Meltdown off the top for Alex Rubin.
Oh wow!
So that could stop a little bit of they could stop a little bit of mana plus the Wish Claw Talisman. So that's actually pretty good here.
Yeah, you know you're losing your Delver to the Abrupt Decay at the best, because the worst is that you just lose this turn.
You're just dead, yeah.
So Bryant, having looked through so many cards, has to be aware of what's in exile, what's in the graveyard. Oh, it's a Rite of Flame.
Good eye. That is a Rite of Flame. Good eye. All right, it looks like that Rite of Flame is going to get played here. It's going to be the 3rd spell. Add a little bit of red mana. Got to count up the rest of them. I think it's the 3rd one this game, or the 2nd. I can't remember. So all right, two red.
One. Yeah,
that's the first. That was the last game. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all good. So yeah, you're able to cast the Brainstorm here, and once again, the floor is just probably Abrupt Decay. Players are just making sure that we got the storm count right, and it's hard. There's all these like floating concepts that you're trying to represent physically.
Yeah, Brainstorm getting played. That's another impressive thing about Bryant when he's playing this deck is like how smooth and easy he gets through all of his turns, and they're so complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you ever just picked this deck up and tried to play it before? It's absurdly intricate, and it's like intimidating. You look at it, it's like me in Modern. Anytime I pick up a Amulet deck, I'm just like, I look at my opening hand, I'm like, what do I do? There's so much.
It's kind of the spot where I try my best, but then I know if I lost, it's my fault.
Right, yeah. It's like, where did I mess up? Because it's definitely my fault.
Okay, so, and then playing the land for turn. Still has the option to play the Relay, the Abrupt Decay from the Relay. And Alex with no cards in hand, it's always
looking
so tough.
It's looking pretty tough for Alex here because there's gonna be so much pressure on him if he even makes it out of this turn. He's gonna have to find a threat and then hope it's somehow good in the next 4 turns. And I don't know if Bryant's going to be able to brick that hard.
Yeah, it feels like it would just have to be Murktide region or something like that, like something
Yeah, I
really
think
hard
Murktide
hitting.
is the best possible draw if he survives this turn. Which, I mean, there's a chance he survives this turn. We're getting low on cards that actually do stuff for Bryant here.
Yeah,
But we haven't seen what's in his hand.
lining up the Abrupt Decay mana there.
Yeah, if I'm in Alex's seat, I'm like, please just abrupt and pass. Like, please, just decay my creature and pass.
It's so funny because it's just like you're asking for the less of two evils. Like,
Right.
obviously losing the game's the worst, but it's like this is almost still kind of losing the game.
Looks like we're gonna have that red mana that's been floating get used. So there's the abrupt. I think that's the 6th or 7th spell this
Oh,
turn.
let's get another relay. Is that what's happening?
It looks like possibly. Yep, relay number 4, I
yeah.
think here.
Yeah. So this relay might be for 8.
Yeah, this one might be able to do it too. Let's see here. Is that a defense? Yeah, I think that's a defense grid. But look, oh yeah, you see Alex kind of rub his hands together. I think this is almost a whiff. Not like a whiff, but this is not good.
All right. So and then.
Oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. Spoke too soon.
1, 2, 3, 4. So that should bring him to 2, though, right? Because
this is tendrils for almost lethal.
If there's 7 cards exiled, then that means this is a tendrils for 8. So that should bring Alex down to 2.
Yeah. So this is a tendrils for all of my cards now kill you, including just actual hard cast tendrils for 1. And Bryant now has infinite time. So again, like you were saying, I think Murktide off the top, best possible draw for Alex here, and something that he I think absolutely just like needs to draw.
I mean, if he does, none of Brian's cards innately draw a card. The Veil won't be turned on, and you can't Abrupt Decay it. A Murktide off the top actually can still just win the game. That's so wild.
If he plays Murktide, are you supposed to crack an LED and cast the Veil Summer? Just to get a card deeper, to give yourself a chance to find a Brainstorm or something.
Maybe. I mean,
or a Ponder. Like Ponder would just be like so huge here.
Yeah, just any form of velocity. But yeah. I think as it stands now, just playing the defense grid, it would bait out a counter if there is one. I guess it doesn't have to bait out a daze, but Bryant with the Carpet Flowers in play just has so much. And wow, just passing. Okay. This is your game to claw back into, Alex. Are you able to find the Murktide Regent?
I think Alex's hand is that land Force of Will, I think.
Not great.
Yeah, and so Bryant has all the artifacts, all the mana, but nothing to do with it. What's the saying? You're all dressed up, nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Brian's got on his Sunday best. He's got his tie all nice, his hair all nice, and just nowhere to go. This is the second Force of Will, so he can actually play through a defense grid here. I think he's going to snap this off on the first velocity spell, like you were saying, anything that draws cards. And looks like we're going to probably get something here. Bryant's pointing out, I'm making mana with this Carpet of Flowers.
I do think it's just incredibly funny that we've had 2 situations in this game where you end up in like a Drago situation.
Yeah, so there's Wishclaw Talisman. Okay. So it looks like Force of Will pay for defense grid. Pitch Force of Will go to 1. So pretty important that he wasn't at an odd. Oh, well, never mind. Scratch that. That's a Veil of Summer. So there's some velocity. He's going to draw a card and make sure this talisman resolves here. And I think there's a way for Bryant to deal 2 damage somewhere.
Yeah, probably just able to get a Burning Wish and then Burning Wish for tendrils.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's happening here. So here we go. We got a Burning Wish, all the mana in the world available to Bryant here. Here, you can have this Wishclaw Talisman. There's another LED just to get the cards out of his hand. So when he activates an LED for mana here, he's not just giving away free value. So it looks like it's some red and black. It's going to make into the Burning Wish. Chromox left over in the hand. Crack all the LEDs. And this should be more than enough to get the game over with. We're about to see a hand get extended here for how's it? Yep, there's another Tendrils of Agony. And I think that should be it. Bryant Cook in his hometown is going to go ahead and win the Legacy. What would you call it? A challenge? The Legacy Challenge from this weekend.
Hey, Bryant Cook here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, but also follow the social media channels down below. If you want to support this content directly, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/shop. And if you need a little bit of assistance with the Epic Storm to get to that next level, I would recommend going to theepicstorm.com/tutoring. Don't worry, there's more great content coming right up.